Welcome everyone, this is Hide on the Rise, and today I wanted to make something quite different because I was queuing all day and I was actually getting bored, so I thought about doing a tier list of a Ryze matchup in the mid lane. I've not prepared anything, I've just prepared those different categories. So this one are the matchups that I would consider it dodging because there is not really any point to play a game with such a disadvantage. I mean, you are not helping out your team, and if your goal is to actually rank up and climb the ladder, I think it's somehow smart to dodge unwinnable games or really tough ones from time to time. Yeah, I guess there is no point of playing matchups you really don't want to play. That's my point. Then really hard matchup. That does not mean that they are not winnable. You can definitely win if you are really much stronger and much better than your opponent, and also depending on your jungler and what the junglers are doing basically, and how your support also is impacting your lane. Sort of same thing with this category here, hard jungler diff. I said jungler diff because if your jungler is really helping you out a lot, then a hard matchup could actually become pretty easy. And on the opposite side, on the contrary, if the enemy jungler is camping you, and you do not get any helps, then this hard matchup can become really hard, and you can definitely lose the lane pretty easily. Skill-based matchup are the ones where it really only depends on your mechanics, and also your capacity to roam and impact the map depending on the matchup. So we'll get over this. And then easy and free. Easy is just a little bit easier than free matchup. All right, so I will only do the mid lane champions for now. If you like it, I will do another one for top laners. But I will also put some random champions that from time to time I've experienced having in my solo queue games, right? So Harry, I guess, is a skill-based matchup. It's either easy or skill-based, to be honest. She outranges you just slightly. She got some mobility, but if you dodge her Q and E, you can trade her back pretty easily, and you outscale her pretty much in team fights. So I think actually I will put her as an easy matchup. Your wave clear is better than hers as well, so you can definitely shove the lane all the time and get the prio over her pretty much all the time. So even though she got an ultimate to roam, she won't be able to use it if you manage your wave management properly and your wave properly. And in team fights, you definitely outkill her late game. I would consider playing Phase Rush against her to kite her out during team fights, but that's basically it. Action is really hard. If this guy is playing well, it's a really hard matchup. The thing is, you will go bone plating against Action most of the time because you want to mitigate his burst. What he wants to do is, Q you and putting some couple of autos. So you want to avoid that as much as you can. So bone plating will definitely be of help for Action here. Also, something to consider against actions is sometimes you will fake roam and going invisible and try to catch you off guard. So what you need to do is really never really push and go forward in the lane. You really want to play safe and wait for your jungler to come and gank. And what you can do though is actually cancel is jump with your own W. So you will E him and wait to use your W. So E, Q, and once you see him jumping, you can then press W, and you will definitely cancel his animation jump, and you won't be able to escape from the gank. So that's something good to know against Action. But most of the time, guys, he will get prio over you and will try to roam and impact the lanes, the top lane and the bot lane. So this matchup is really difficult. But if you buy Tabby, you go armor. Well, I wanted to say you go armor runes, but they do not exist anymore, unfortunately. But you go defensive rune setup with bone platings, and you also go early boots, tabbies, steel caps boots, and you would be fine, and you can actually match his wave clear later on. And in team fights you would scale him as well. So I would say that this matchup is pretty hard, especially in low elo, but definitely winnable if you are playing really patiently. If you are really patient, your time will come during mid and late game. Hakali. Akali is, to be honest, an easy matchup. I know a lot of people struggle against her, especially at low elo, but if you play with really aggressive rune setup, so for instance, Scorch, something like that, you would be able to actually free waves crash her. And once you do that, she will lose a lot of HP. She will be under turret. She will have a really hard time to farm, and that way you can definitely punish her once the wave is bouncing back towards your side of the lane. Either you would have TP by then, and with item advantage, you can also start Doran rings as well. Oh, same thing for action, by the way. You start Doran's ring, also really helpful to survive the laning phase. And if you go Doran's ring against Akali, you will have a lot of fighting powers early on, meaning that you will be able to get prio most of the early game and roam, help your jungler out for skeletal fights, etc., etc. And in the late game, that's true that she can, kill your ADC, but if you manage to play the early game and mid game properly and you denied her some farms and prevented her from roaming and getting free kills, you should be able to have a much better impact into the game. So I consider this matchup easy. Every time the mid laner is picking Akali, I'm really happy about it. I don't know what this is basically. Anivia. Anivia is really hard, or actually, I think Anivia is a dodge game, to be honest. It's one of the few champions where I would consider seriously dodging against Anivia. I think 90% of the time I'm dodging the game. I don't see the point of playing with her against her. It's really boring. She outranges you. She can EQ. If she hits her Q, basically, you are half HP. She can also one-shot you after level 6. She waves clear, or wave clears is actually better than yours. So she's stronger than you in every situation, basically. She can shove the lane faster than you. She has more DPS, more damage output. The egg is also really difficult for Ryze to kill, so even though you manage to actually kill her, you won't be able to destroy the egg in the early level and in the early game. Late game also really impossible to catch off guard because she got move speed, and also she can slows you. You cannot catch her, whatever. There is no need of talking more about Anivia. Just dodge the game, to be honest. There is no point. Annie matchup. Annie is actually easy or skill based. I think it's easy, more easy than yeah. I think Annie is easy matchup, easy lane. She's really predictable, not really good in this meta, so she's not really played a lot, so I won't spend too much time on her. But basically what you want to do is shove the lane and roam and impact the map. You cannot win 1v1 against Annie. She got, a lot of damage, but you can definitely impact the game by roaming, and that's how you win lanes against any late game. You should be careful about her flash ult. Of course, you can buy Banshee, and once you get Banshee, game is pretty much over. You can always, since she's so predictable with Banshee Val, you are guaranteed to win the 1v1 anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Aurelion Sol, really hard matchup, definitely. He really outscales you. So in the early game, actually, I would say actually it's hard matchup, and also dependent on your jungler, because if you manage to get few kills or 1 or 2 kills early on with your jungler help, then you will be able to take over the game. He won't be able to catch you on item advantage, and you will always get more damage than him, and you will have a better wave clear, and you will be able to impact the game much more than him, and because he won't be able to scale. However, if he actually manages to go into the late game, the matchup becomes really hard because he outranges you, a lot of damage, a lot of mobility, really hard to kill, AoE damage as well. In team fights, his value, I would say, would be better than yours. So I think overall, I will put Aurelion Sol in a really hard matchup. Every time I see Aurelion Sol picked in drafts, I'm a little bit sad, So I won't put him here, but here instead. Actually, it's a little bit harder than action. I prefer facing action than Orient's also. I think that's the correct thing. Azir, to be honest, is free to me. It's either easy or free. I think he got buffed this patch, so I will put him as easy, I guess. I haven't played against him much these days, but yeah, pretty easy lane. You can just get the priority over him all the time and roam and impact the game. That's true that he's scaling, but so are you, and I think we actually scale a little bit better than him because we're more, we got mobility, we got damage over time compared to him. But I honestly prefer playing Ryze into Azir. I really like that matchup. It's quite easy. He cannot really 1v1 you, so all the champions that cannot really kill you 1v1 or harass you or poke you during laning phase are really easy to play against, because we can transition towards the mid and late game quite easily as Ryze. Brand mid lane. Brand mid lane is, I guess, a skill based, because you still need to dodge some spells, but it's really not played. It's never played. But against Brand, we need to call the jungler for ganks, because this guy is really immobile. He's really strong in lane. He has a lot of poke, a lot of damage, but he needs to get punished. And sometimes in low elo, Brand mid lane works because junglers never gank. But yeah, I would say it's skill based, because you need to dodge skill shots, but you can buy boots. But honestly, this will be easy. I think it will be, yeah, it's sort of, let's put it as easy, because you just buy boots, you dodge everything, and it's not really well played. Played a lot. Cassiopeia is actually hard. It's quite hard. It's not really hard, but it's quite hard, because the champion is not really overbuffed or overpowered at this stage. But this champion is really hard to play against. You need to keep the wave on your side of the lane, and not push the wave under turret, because she would love that. She loves when she's getting pushed out, because that means she can actually chase you down with ghost. She will pop up the ghost and chase you down and kill you. So the thing is, you keep your lane under your turrets as a wave management and call for ganks. If jungler doesn't come, that's still fine. You're still safe. She won't be able to dive you, and you need to dodge and buy boots. I will go Mercury boots to tank a little bit better, and to mitigate her CC and dodging her spell. So I will go boots early as well. But yeah, it's really hard, because 1v1 she has a bit more DPS than you, and she also got a lot of team fights impact with her ultimate, so you need to play really well mechanically and try to dodge her ultimate, try to predict it, I would say. So that's why I think she's a hard matchup. Shogat is actually also hard. Yes, Shogat is also hard, because he cannot, he can, if he plays full AP, he can actually poke you down quite easily, and you need to buy boots. But I would say it's skill based, because if you buy boots and you dodge really well the spells, it really depends on your skills and your mechanics at this point. So yeah, Shogat AP, I would say, a skill based matchup. But the thing is, you cannot kill him 1v1. He will, at some point, he will become too tanky, so it will be really hard for you to kill him. You will spend too much time in resources trying to kill a tank. It's never worth it. Corki is a free lane. It's one of the few champions that's really easy to play against. You got more damage than him early game, and you got a better wave clearance than him, and you actually scale better than him as well. It's not, Corki is not a really good solo queue pick. It's really good in pro play, but yeah, if enemy team picks Corki, generally what you want to do is go aggressive rune, so Scorch, and you try to poke him, dodge his AoEs, and shove the lane all the time, getting prio over him, and in team fights will be much more useful than him. Late game, you scale much better. Diana is actually pretty easy as well. She's quite predictable, so yeah, easy or skill based. I think it's easy because she's predictable. You also buy boots, try to dodge or Q, poke her. It's like sort of like Akali, I would say. So I would put her here. It's somehow similar to how Akali plays. Maybe a little bit stronger actually, because if she plays Ignite, she can all-in you a bit more. Well, she has an easier time all-in you than Akali, I would say. So But what you want to do is, yeah, free waves crash her, poke her down under a turret, not getting caught by her Q, otherwise she will engage onto you. And if you actually scale into the game, you will have more impact than her. You will be able to roam in the mid game, help out your jungler, play with him, gank top, dive bot, those kind of things. So yeah, easy matchup. Um, Echo is actually a skill-based matchup. It's not as easy as the other ones because as these ones here, it's a bit harder to play against him because he got a lot of damage, a lot of mobility. It's really hard to kill in lane, especially post level 6 because of his ultimate. It's really skill-based. You need to really how do you say that? Kite is E range, trying to farm from a distance. You can also, what I like to do against Echo is manage the waves, such as my wave is stick under my turret, so he has a really hard time to shove and he is vulnerable to gank. But that's somehow a skill-based matchup. Fizz is quite hard. However, you do have a trick on Fizz, so you can actually ult at the moment you see his ult landing on you. You ult yourself as well, and if you time it correctly, you will be able to dodge his Fizz ultimate. I don't know if a lot of you guys know that already, but that's somehow a Ryze mechanic. It's the same with Karthus. You can also dodge Karthus ultimate with your R. So, but his R CD is shorter than yours, so you need to be careful about that. You can only use that once or twice in the game, I would say, and then he will stop doing so. If you buy Zonya, I know Zonya is actually armor, but Zonya is really good against Fizz. Because you can actually dodge his E and also dodge his ultimate with it. So even though it's armor based item, Zonya is really great against Fizz. So I would say it's hard in lane because he can roam a lot, sometimes give up the lane, go take kills, getting free kills. Then he can definitely one shot you 1v1. But after, I would say actually it's skill based. Sorry, I would put it in here. It's skill based or here, because it's a bit harder than this one, but it's definitely skill based because if you play well, you can outplay him quite easily as well. So yeah. What else do we got here? Galio, really hard. Galio really hard. He does everything we do, but slightly better, to be honest. His ultimate is similar to ours. He tanks. He's really tanky. He got a lot of damage. He can actually gap close us and kill us pretty easily. Really nice gang setup. Really hard lane to play, to be honest. Really tough and hard matchup for Ryze. I really don't like playing against Galio. So what I do is I buy Mercury boots to reduce and mitigate the taunt he got, and I play safe. I just farm. I just shove the waves. I'm not trying to kill him. I won't be able to. You will never be able to kill a Galio 1v1. And it's also really hard to gank, so I will play for my jungler instead. What else do we got here? Aurelia is it's either dodge or really hard. I think it's more like really hard. It really depends on your skill. She's a natural counter of Ryze. You will never want to push the lane against Aurelia because otherwise she can chase you down, such as similarly to Cassio. But what you want to do is buy Steel Caps boots early on, maybe Frozen Heart as well. You can go tanky, buy Zonya as well. Just farm, scale, and go into the late game team fight. If you manage to not die early on, and if you ping her, it's similar to Action. If you ping her all the time she's missed, she won't be able to impact the map. And in this instance, you will be able in team fights to have a much better impact than her late game if you manage to scale as well. But really hard lane, you will never get the priority over her. She will always got the prior over you, and she can always all-in you and 1v1 you. So really difficult matchup, really hard, but not as hard as Anivia in my opinion. I think it's doable to play against her, but hard. What else do we got here? Heimerdinger is easy matchup, I would say. Yeah, really easy to be honest, because it will want to put down some turrets into the mid lane, and you can just kill the turrets similarly to Malzar. Actually, where is Malzar? Otherwise, I will forget. It's because those two are quite similar. They want to put some things into the lane, like turrets. Malzar is actually free because it's quite easy, I would say. But those two are really simple. You just EQ the wave and kill the turrets, kill the things. You will get the priority over them once you get one item and some mana after one or two resets, and you will get priority over them. So quite nice. And if this guy tries to overextend, he will get ganked. So with your W, he cannot escape. What else do we have here? Jace, I haven't seen quite a lot, but I think it's somehow, I think it's easy actually. I think it's quite easy or skill based, I would say, because yeah, it's mostly reliant on your capacity and ability to dodge his Q, his empowered Q. Um, yeah, I would say it's somehow a skill based matchup, but I don't see Jace's. I don't see a lot of Jace's these days. Karma is really difficult. She got buffed recently. She's played mid lane. Really, really difficult. Well, it's not. It's not that it's hard. I would say it's actually hard, not really hard. But she cannot kill you 1v1, but you cannot kill her either. She has a lot of poke, a lot of mobility, a lot of sustain. So you need to shove the lane all the time. You need to build Sapphire Crystal early on and try to shove the lane all the time so she cannot poke you under your own turret. So it's hard matchup because of the buff she got recently, and she's really overpowered at this moment. But normally she would be a skill base or an easy matchup. It's just because she got like buffed that she deserved a hard tier list here. But in team fights, late game you have a more impact than her as well once you're level 16 with 3 items anyway. Alright, what else do we got here? Card Smith, I don't see a lot, but I think it's really... Oh, actually depends, but I think it's quite easy because it will get really vulnerable early on if he wants to shove and match your wave clear. So you can just call off your jungler and kill him, or like, yeah, chain kill him basically. So if he doesn't get kills early on, you can also roam much better than him with your ultimate. So you can try to dive top and dive bot. So really easy lane. Otherwise, Kassadin is actually pretty hard. It's either really hard or hard. The thing with Kassadin is that I find him so difficult to punish early on, and it's so easy for a good Kassadin player to reach the late game. And once he's level 16, you will never be able to kill him, and he will one-shot you if he jumps and comes onto you. Before, in Season 13, we got the Crown, and the Crown was really helpful against him to mitigate his damage once he jumps onto you, and then you can actually kill him. But now that we don't have that, it's really hard, I would say. Even Benchivel won't work a lot against him. So yeah, it's a hard matchup, to be honest. You could say that early game is quite free, but honestly, Reach is level 6 so fast these days. Really easily he can avoid ganks and avoid early death. That it will always manage to get to late game quite easily. So we can go with Katarina. Katarina is hard matchup. So if you played really well, you can manage to poke her down level 3, such as similarly to Akali. But I find that Katarina is harder for us to fight against because she got more fighting power. She can definitely one-shot us once she's level 6, and even before that if she plays Ignite. Um, if she plays TP, the matchup is even harder in my opinion, because even though you manage to actually poke her down in the turret, she will just back and reset and TP, and you won't be able to do anything and to use that at your advantage. If she plays Ignite, actually the matchup becomes more, well, it becomes slightly easier, but you need to be careful that she can all-ins you early on and play accordingly. But if she plays TP, to be honest, the game is really, really difficult. I think it's actually a really hard matchup, I would say, because one mistake and you're dead. One kill, if she managed to get one kill on side lane or something, or if she kills your jungler at, Scuttle Crab, your game is basically over. She will be able to take over the map, get multiple kills. So it's really hard to play against good Katarina players, in my opinion. But in low elo, you can definitely punish her because they will actually roam a lot and give up waves and give up experience, and you will be able to scale and go level 16 before her. And at this stage, you would be able to win 1v1s. But at high elo, a good Katarina player will always get priority over us if she plays really well. So it's a hard matchup, to be honest. But I've made a couple of videos on how to manage waves against her. So you can check this out if you haven't already. Maybe it may be slightly of help. KL is a free lane, of course. You need to call your jungler, dive her as much as you can. It's really easy. You get priority over her all the time in the mid game and early game. So you need to abuse that. But late game, of course, she's KL, right? She's the strongest champion in late game, in my opinion. So yeah, try to avoid that at all cost and abuse her. Lux is also a free matchup. It's hard to reach and it's hard to catch her, but the goal here is simply she's really safe. She will play flash barrier most of the time, you know, but your goal is not necessarily to kill her. Your goal is to shove the lane and impact the map, so you can neutralize the matchup. She won't be able to kill you. You won't be able to catch and kill her unless you get ganked or she's trolling or inting. But most of the time, Lux players are really safe and playing really far back. You know, flash barrier style. I really don't like this playstyle, but whatever. So really free lane, to be honest. Similar at those guys, you can do whatever you want. You get priority all the time. You can go and steal jungle camps. You can go and put some vision down, get vision into the river. You can go and help your team and abuse our lack of mobility here. What else do we got? We got Cannon. Cannon is actually a skill-based champ, skill-based matchup. Either easy or skill-based. But I would say easy because you can also, like, your wave clear is so strong compared to his that you will, and if he actually wave clear, he is using his escape, he's using his E and wasting it. So he has a choice: either rematch your wave clear, or you get, but he loses his engage potential with his E or his escape. And if he tries to use it, well, to not use it, I would say, then you get the wave clear and wave advantage, so you get the priority over him all the time. So really easy matchup as well. LeBlanc. Well, Ryze has always been considered like a counter of LeBlanc, but to be honest, the matchup is really hard because fights will be really close most of the times. It won't be like easy kills. Most of the times it will be really close fights, so you will survive with like 100 HP, maybe less. Similar for her, if she kills you, sometimes she will survive with low HP. Your damage output are quite similar in the early levels. So yeah, 1v1, it's sort of a flip. You need to build Mercury boots to go sort of tanky with Crystal. I guess Road of Ages will be of help against LeBlanc to mitigate her burst and all-in potential. Other than that, the matchup is not really, I would say it's skill based, so yeah, I think it's skill based then, because it depends of your itemization on how you can dodge the Shane. If you dodge the Shane and try to space out her W as well, you will be able to win the matchup pretty easily, because Ryze was considered a counter, or not really a counter, but a good response and a good answer to LeBlanc in pro play as well. Lissandra also, I think Lissandra is easier than LeBlanc. She will get the priority over you in level 1, 2 and 3, but once you back with one item or half an item, you know, some mana, you will be able to match or wave clear, and you know, you can also cancel her E. So it's a really easy matchup. When she wants to escape, you actually EW her, you will cancel her. So really good to keep in mind. Similarly to Akshan, you can do that as well. What else do we got here? Morgana mid lane, not really played, but I guess to be easy, you just dodge the Q, and that's That's pretty much it, right? And be careful about level 6. If she plays Ghost, she can actually R you. If you do not have Flash, you're 100% dead with Ghost because you will get perma-stun and you will get killed. So be careful about that. It's a bit of cheesy pick. Need to keep that in mind. Orianna is definitely skill based, not really hard, not really easy. I think it's skill based. You need to dodge and to dodge our Q, to space correctly, and to place yourself accordingly to her ball during the laning phase. So if the ball is on the right side, you just place yourself on the left side, and vice versa, and you should be able to win the lane. You have a better wave clear than her as well, so you can use that as your advantage to rotate and impact the map, while she cannot. In team fight, if she plays really well, her shockwave can have a huge impact, so you need to be mindful of her shockwave at all cost and at all time. So at least yourself will never be caught in her shockwave, right? At least it will be one less player to think about while she's playing around her ultimate during team fights. Pantheon is really difficult, really hard matchup. Can all-ins you all the time. The shield he got, it's actually really hard, I would say, because the shield he got makes it really difficult for us to pass through during team fights, and also during ganks. Really hard to gank, really hard to kill, and he has a lot of damage, can really kill you quite easily if he plays with Ignite, or his ultimate can match yours and is even stronger. To be honest, this one is really overlooked, but it's a really difficult matchup for Ryze, in my opinion. What else do we got here? Kiana. Kiana is actually skill-based matchup. A good Kiana player will roll over your face if she plays really well. She can definitely destroys you and kills you 1v1. So be mindful about that. She will always, most of the time, want to do fake roams. She will try to fake roam all the time. So that's what you want to avoid getting caught while rotating. Always ward the peak ward, the bush river, right? So she cannot jump onto you for free, and be mindful of her ultimate. Try to avoid being too close to walls, otherwise you're just guaranteed being dead. So it's a skill-based matchup, not really OP and definitely winnable, especially early on. If you do 3 waves crash against her, you're quite safe because she will lose some HP. She's never playing with TP, always with Ignite. Kiana players, right? They want to one-shot people and do some montage plays. So as long as you're avoiding her lethal, you will be definitely in a good shape. Nico. Nico is also skill-based matchup. She got a lot of range. You need to be really mindful of her passive, to be honest. They are cheesy players. You can definitely win late game if you manage to survive the laning phase early on. You got a better wave clear than hers. If she uses her spells onto the wave, you can use that as your advantage because she got long CDs to actually all-in her and go into her and poke her down to retaliate. So she got a choice similarly to Kinnan. Either she uses her spells on the wave, either on yourself. She cannot do both, so use that as your advantage to impact the map. Seraphine. Seraphine is similar to Nico, but easier. I think it's an easy matchup here. Yeah, I was just thinking if these are in the same in the right order, but I would think that Diana is there. Diana is there. I think Lysandra is there as well. Seraphine will be here. Yeah, that should be something like that actually. I think that would be something like that. Maybe like this, I guess. Yeah, maybe like this. That should be fine. And here, here I would definitely put this guy here. I guess that should be something like that, right? It should be something like that. Yeah, yeah. This guy is a bit stronger than his, and I will go for this order here. Definitely here, Katarina. Galio as well. It's quite tough actually. It's quite tough. It's quite tough. These ones are all really tough matchup for different reasons, so I cannot really rank them. I guess Akshan will be the easier one. It could be hard actually. Yeah, it's either here or here, but yeah, it's the weakest of these ones here. And Anivia is of course sitting at the top of the of the food hierarchy here. All right, what else do we got here? We can go with let's go for the brothers, the brothers. So Yasuo really hard, and Yone is actually skill based. It's not hard matchup, it's actually skill based. So Yone first. Yone you can definitely is really predictable, similar to any. Every time he got Q3, you know that he will try to E you. If he doesn't get his E, it's even easier. If he already used his E, for instance, and he got Q3, just be mindful of his Q3. He will try to do it every time. Most Yone players are not necessarily stupid, but they always want to Q3 every time they got the chance to do so. So once they do, you just dodge. If you dodge, you just EWQ them and you can trade them back. So really easy matchup in my opinion. Either easy or skill based, but once you get ultimate, you need to play with Zonya. Zonya is really strong against Yone. Once you get it, it's game over. He cannot ult you anymore. You just press Zonya and you're completely safe. And also try to track his E cooldown, try to punish him. So it's really skill-based matchup. Try to free wave crash as well. I've made a couple of videos against Yone in my channel, so you can go guys and check this out. Once you get the chance, it's really helpful. Yasuo on the other end is really hard matchup. His wind wall can definitely render you completely useless in team fights. So if the Yasuo players plays properly, he will put a really nice wind wall. We'll wait. He will be really patient with it and place it at a time that that is really valuable. So you cannot do anything in team fight, especially if you are fighting in the jungler or into the river. It will just wind the wall the river or the jungle entrance, and you are completely stuck. You cannot do anything against him. So this ability is broken in my opinion, but yeah, that's the thing, and he will get priority over you most of the time. So Yasuo really hard matchup. It's either, to be honest, you can also dodge. You can also dodge Yasuo. I would say it's either really hard. You want to play it. It's harder than Aurelia for sure. So it's either here or here. But yeah, for the sake of the climbing out of low, if you want to climb as fast as you can, just dodge, to be honest. So let's just dodge. It's playable, but just dodge because it doesn't matter. It doesn't really, there is no point of playing with such a disadvantage, right? You can also consider banning Yasuo every game and dodging Anivia once, so you never have to face these again. What else can we do here? TF is broken at the moment. Is really OP, so it's a hard matchup. I think it's here. Really hard. He cannot 1v1 you, but he got a lot of wave clear. He can impact the game with his ultimate, a lot of damage. He got slightly nerfed these days recently, I think last patch, but at this stage it's really hard matchup because he's the same as you, but in better, I would say. Yeah, his ultimate covers half of the map while yours doesn't, so really hard matchup, but doable as well, depending on your jungler and his jungler, and depending on what's happening on the map with your support impact, skirmishes, etc, etc. So yeah, hard matchup overall. Swain was hard in the beginning of the season, but now I think it's quite, actually it's skill based. You need to dodge, you need to buy Mercury boots and dodge his roots. Once you do that, you're fine. He will never be able to kill you. Morale could be also an option against him, really gankable. Team fight is really strong, but if you manage to go to late game and survive the laning phase, get a couple of kills early on, you should be able to win pretty easily the game and to outperform him. And Talia is also an easy matchup against Ryze. Be mindful though of saving your flash, because if she clutch a W onto you, you're just dead and can get ganked quite easily. So having early boots is really helpful against Talia in my opinion. But yeah, I prefer playing Ryze over Talia. It's a nice matchup and really an easy matchup as well. She's not really played a lot recently as well in mid lane. What else? Did I forget anything here? We can go Zed and Zoe. Zoe really tough as well, but I would say skill based, because so Zoe is really strong. She got a lot of burst. However, she's really reliant on on her bubble. So if you manage to dodge that with boots, early boots, then you should be fine. Mercury boots are of course an option. You can also play cleanse against Zoe if you are not confident in your ability to dodge. Cleanse can really save your life because a bubble generally means death after a couple of levels, right? Let's go with Victor and then Zed. We'll go Victor and Zed. So Victor is an easy lane, easy matchup. Be mindful that 1v1 is stronger than you. He got a lot of range, but during the early game, you should get priority over him most of the time. So use that to your advantage to impact the map. Don't necessarily try to fight him 1v1, especially after level 6, where his ultimate will definitely kill you. His ultimate is really strong against you, so be really mindful of that. Don't get trapped into the fact that I put him as an easy lane. I'm putting him as an easy matchup because I want to avoid, and you can definitely neutralize and avoid fighting him 1v1 and instead rotating and impacting the map. But if you are silencing against him and you are even, he will definitely kill you 1v1, so be mindful about that because he got a lot of damage. He got a fighting ultimate where you don't. Remember that. Where is Zed? I forgot where I put my Zed here. Zed is really hard. I'm not gonna lie. Zed matchup is really hard. You need to build armor similarly to Action. You go defensive rune setup. You go resolve as a secondary. You build steel caps. You can go Zonia first. Zonia first could be an option, but really hard matchup. He can get priority over you. If it's also skill dependent as well, in the sense that if you dodge his poke, then you should be fine, right? But if you do not, then you will have a really hard time fighting against this guy. So to me, Zed is a really hard matchup as well. You can also consider banning him because he's a really popular pick. People are playing him a lot. Vladimir. Vladimir is really an easy opponent as well. You definitely counter him. He's one of the few where you can. He's one of the few champion Ryze actually counter because you got more rotation than him, and you can avoid his empowered Q as well. Nemesis recently played a Ryze game. Actually, I thought about making a video about it. So if you haven't seen it already, haven't watched it already, you can go. He played against Vladimir in high elo playing Ryze, and he definitely destroyed him. So that's how easy the matchup is, and he's also a Nemesis, right? But he's playing a Challenger, so you can get a pretty good idea of how the matchup goes while watching Challenger players, because generally those guys know what they're doing and they know all their matchups. So really easy matchup. What else do we got here? Veigar. We can go Veigar. We can go Vex. Veigar is actually hard, and Vex is actually skill based. So Veigar is hard because really difficult to catch. His W is, well, his E and W make it really difficult. His stun is really long CD, really hard to punish. He scales really well. If he builds Zonia and then Death Cap, it's really hard to kill. You need to build Zonia as well to counter his ultimate. So you press Zonia once he press his R. But it's really hard matchup because he's scaling really well. He's scaling more than you, I think, to be honest. And he has a lot of CC. So it's hard matchup. In the early game, you need to use that to snowball and impact the game and rotate. I know I'm saying that all the time, but it's true for all the champions. It's Ryze identity, right? Roaming, impacting the map, using a wave clear to impact the game and snowball. And you need to do that definitely against Veigar. If you stay on your lane and he's staying on lane, he will be winning because it goes to his advantage to stay and farm on the lane. So keep that in mind while facing him. Hard matchup overall. Vex, skill-based matchup, similarly to these guys here, to Nico's, quite similar. She can use her spells onto the wave or onto you. She cannot do both, so use that to her advantage to punish cooldown. Really skill-based matchup. You can destroy her. She can win against you if she plays better than you. Silas and Syndra now. I will do. Silas is a skill-based matchup, not easy, as a lot of people think Ryze counters Silas. It's not really true. It's a skill-based matchup. If this guy plays well with his flash, he can find a window. He can find window to all in and punish you. So you need to be mindful about that and never get caught by his chain. Even though sometimes he seems to be low health and you see an opportunity to kill him, be mindful that he can turn that to his advantage with his lifesteal. So it's skill based dependent, not hard, not easy, in my opinion. At least that's how I see it. Syndra, however, is really hard. Syndra is really hard. She got a lot of range in lane. She can poke you down quite easily. 1v1, it's hard to catch her because of her stun. If she plays really well, the lane could become really tough and hard to play. And thinking about it, I will put Vel'Koz here as well. And guys, it's a bit weird, but it's similar to Pantheon. Vel'Koz and Syndra, all the long-range skill shot champions are really tough to play against because they outrange us, and if they play in space correctly, the life can be difficult for us. So what we need to do in these lanes is farm and not die, to be honest. That's how you play as Ryze. You cannot play for the 1v1. They will get priority over you most of the time, all these champions. And if they get priority over you, your champion loses his identity because you cannot use your ultimate to impact the game, and you don't have fighting ultimate or fighting power to fight them back, while these guys, with their ultimate, they can definitely one-shot you. So they are really, really strong and hard. What else do we got here? Zyra mid is a thing, maybe. Zilean, I know. Maybe a couple. Oh, okay. Let's do Tristana as well. So Tristana is really hard as well. She got a lot of wave clear with her E and her passive, and she can all-in you pretty easily, and she got a lot of damage. So you will play her. It's similar to Akshan. Those two have the same play style against you. They want to fight and all in you all the time. Same for Pantheon. So you need to play defensive rune setup as well, and just farm, wait for ganks, and yeah, survive the laning phase without getting a lot of golds to her, and not giving up plates. So try to shove the lane and match her wave clear, even though it could be hard, while remaining safe and not getting all in by her. Be mindful, if she plays Ignite, be really careful because you could be surprised by her damage output. Xerath is a skill-based champion. He got a lot of range, but if you go boots early on, you can definitely have an easier time dodging his spells and skill shot. He will try to shove the lane all the time and poke you under turret, but after your second reset, normally you will be able to win the wave clear matchup. So skill-based matchup. If you dodge his E and play, for instance, with Ghost, or if you manage to call for your jungler, you will be able to kill him quite easily. We got Ziggs, and Ziggs is also a hard matchup. I think I will put here really hard actually. I really don't like playing against Ziggs players because similarly to Vel'Koz and Syndra, they have the same sort of identity. They poke a lot, really long range, really hard to dodge his kill shots. I really don't like dodging Ziggs Qs, really difficult. So to me it's a really hard matchup. It will poke you down, try to shove the lane all the time, win the wave clear game. So you need to call out your jungler and just survive the laning phase, but late game you will be able to outscale him pretty well. Varus mid lane, Varus AP is really hard. It's a hard matchup as well because this guy has the potential to 100 to 0 you really easily. playing AP. But if you manage to survive, so go defensive, play really stealth. You can go Banshee as well. Banshee could be an option as a first item, and Archangel as a second. Against him, you go Mercury Boots as well. You should be able to survive the laning phase and go into the mid and late game with in a good shape, and you will outscale him later on in team fights. But the laning phase in itself is hard. That's why he will get priority over you and can kills you 1v1, so you need to be mindful about him. I'm just trying to think, but I think that's sort of it, right? I think we covered most of the mid lane matchups. Maybe, you know, you always forgot one or two in this sort of series, so sorry if that happened, but please let me know in the comments. Oh, I actually played against Zerimid these days. She was AP, and it was actually not that easy. Yeah, she can actually only endure level 6. She can flash RU. She was playing AP, so I think that's a thing. I will put her here. Not necessarily hard, but not necessarily easy either. But yeah. So that's pretty much how the tier list looks like, to be honest. So I would consider banning one of these two and dodging the other one to increase your win rate while climbing with the blue boy with Ryze. But yeah, as you can see in this meta, there are a lot of picks here that are really hard or hard. I'm thinking about TF here. That is pretty hard. I'm thinking about Tristana as well. Syndra is still really played. Karma, of course. Kassadin as well got buffed. Karma as well. So there are a couple of champions that are making it difficult for us to climb. That's true, that's fair. But at the same time, and also in solo queue, all these picks here are really popular, like Akshan, Tristana, Pantheon, Katarina. These picks are also popular, Zed as well. So yeah, it's definitely not the best champion to climb as fast as possible. If you really want to make an elo rush, I would consider playing other meta champions such as TF and with high win rate champions. But it's definitely possible to climb and to become challenger with Ryze. There are challengers OTPs with Ryze, so don't give up, guys. It's definitely possible. Just the time will be different, but you can get a really high elo with every single champions in this game because that's how this game works, right? And I promise you that there are OTPs challenges for every single champion in this game. I think there was also a Yumi top lane that reached Masters, so everything's possible, guys. No worries. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed that format. Please let me know if you want more videos like that are not definitely gameplays, I would say. And see you later.